What is the difference between successful people or non-successful people? Are successful people more intelligent, or do they just have better opportunities than non-successful people? I heard Brian Tracy say, only difference between successful people and non-successful people is this: everybody thinks about what they want, but successful people think about what they want and how to get it. The most important thing is the how. The only way I ever accomplish anything is to figure out what it is I want, then how I am going to get it. Ever since wrestling, my life has been driven by goals and what I want in life. The only way I ever achieve anything is by laying out a plan and working on that plan until I accomplish it. Another way to look at it is to start backwards. Think of the house you want to live in, the cars you want to drive, the lifestyle you want your family to live. You have to lay out a game plan to get there. It is not going to miraculously show up on your doorstep someday. This means each day of your life you need to be doing at least one thing that will help you accomplish that goal. I love how Robert Kiyosaki explains this concept in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Because I had two influential fathers, I learned from both of them. I had to think about each dad's advice, and in doing so, I gained valuable insight into the power and effect of one's thoughts on one's life. For example, one dad had a habit of saying, "I can't afford it." The other dad forbade those words to be used. He insisted I say, "How can I afford it?" One is a statement and the other is a question. One lets you off the hook and the other forces you to think. My soon-to-be rich dad would explain that by automatically saying the words, "I can't afford it," your brain stops working. By asking the question, "How can I afford it?" your brain is put to work. He did not mean buy everything you wanted. He was fanatical about exercising your mind, the most powerful computer in the world. My brain gets stronger every day because I exercise it. The stronger it gets, the more money I can make. He believed that automatically saying "I can't afford it" was a sign of mental laziness. During my childhood, my father gave me the best advice on how to get rich I've ever received. He told me, "Jeff, if you want to become successful at something, find someone who's successful at what you want to do and emulate that person." I want to become a billionaire, so naturally, I went looking for what makes a billionaire's mind tick. I became obsessed over billionaire biographies from Warren Buffett to Bill Gates. Some very interesting bits of information found, as well as some surprising ones. As every word travels from this video to your brain, you'll start to feel energized as you learn about the billionaire mindset. They usually don't see money as the main motivational source. Most billionaires focus on their passion rather than their profits. Think about it this way. By the time someone becomes a millionaire, it's safe to assume that their basic needs, as well as most wants, are taken care of. But these exceptional few keep pushing forward and creating, because they're usually building some sort of legacy and love what they do. I'm willing to bet that even if money went completely obsolete, Steve Jobs would still be an innovator in the consumer electronics and personal computing field. Money is usually a byproduct of this type of massive success, albeit a pretty awesome one. They think big. Before computers became a commonality in almost every American home, Bill Gates made a statement that they would be. He knew, without a doubt, that his impact on industry as well as history would be substantial. Billionaires don't just start mom and pops, then accidentally grow to huge successes. They start businesses with huge ambitions in mind. They focus on what they want done rather than how they're going to do it. If any person started thinking about the details of how they're going to pull themselves out of poverty and climb their way up to a billion-dollar success story, they would easily become overwhelmed. But hair fashion mogul Paul Mitchell did just that. While homeless, he just focused on what he needed to do at that particular time. He most likely didn't dwell on every single factor. He took baby steps along the way. He went from collecting bottles and cashing them in for pennies in order to eat to steadily building his business one head of hair at a time. I'm not suggesting that you don't need a plan. It's probably best to create a plan of action. But you don't need to know every element or occupy your mind with details that you won't need to deal with in months or even years from now. Just keep a to-do list you can work off daily. You can find many ways to create to-do lists that span from your yearly goals. You can find many people talking about them on YouTube as well. They fail fast and fail often. Every failure will bring you closer to success. No one knew this better than Thomas Edison, as he invented the light bulb. Reports found he failed over 10,000 times to finally reach success. Even though at the time he wasn't a billionaire, if his money converted to match today's inflation, he would easily make the cut. They take massive action. Many billionaires get so caught up in what they're trying to achieve, they become obsessed and start working all night and day on their projects. They don't just start small and work on it here and there. They pour every spare waking moment into the work they do. He and his team would sometimes go on 35-hour straight coding binges. Starbucks empire captain Howard Schultz went door to door in the richest parts of Washington state, actively looking for investors for his newly bought coffee company. Now that's massive action. They encompass infectious enthusiasm. Many billionaires boast a way to electrify and motivate others to helping them achieve their goal. Their pure enthusiasm makes people want to risk their own time and fortunes with them. Think of Sir Richard Branson. He didn't even own a high school diploma, but he convinced recording artists to work with his fledgling record label. And even after that, he got investors to help him with starting over 100 other business ventures, including an airline and a mobile phone carrier. These people that took risks for him caught his enthusiasm. The constantly repeated mantra of fake it till you make it holds a great deal of weight. If you think and act like a billionaire, you'll eventually become one. These character traits on how to get rich aren't something you necessarily receive from birth. You can learn to incorporate them into your subconscious over time. You can also find multiple ways to tap into that part of your mind and program it directly. These things include NLP, subliminal programming, hypnosis, and autosuggestion. I highly recommend you look into them. Discover the fortune and success that already lies hidden in your mind.